Welcome everyone. This is the Indian Express of 2nd October 2022 and I will explain this newspaper in 3 steps. First is why is the news? Second is what is the news? And third is what can be the future prospects of the news. So you see the first headline is the PM launches 5G and he say that this 5G is a knock on doors of new era of infinite opportunity. So why this news? Because since a year there was a lot of buzz about the 5G, that 5G is going to be launched. A lot of bid took place by major telecom operators in the last 8 to 9 months. Now finally 5G has been launched. And also Prime Minister Modi say that technology has become democratic in the truest sense. And why exactly democratic? Because of the reach. Now everyone will have access to this new fast-paced technology. Not from today, but at least till the last of 2024. So what he said is the new India will not remain a mere consumer of technology, but will play an active role in the development and implementation of that technology. And how exactly? Because technology is consumed by most of the people, by rural people, by urban people, but who give the output out of that technology has a role to play in the economy. Which means who make something out of this technology, who make employment, investment and jobs out of this technology will help in the economy of our country. And he added that 5G technology will revamp the entire architecture of the internet. Who is the one who is going to launch 5G? Bharti Airtel is the operator that is immediately rolling out 5G services in 8 cities, including Delhi, Mumbai, Varanasi and Bengaluru. And what about rest of the country? It would get it by March 2024. Another operator, Reliance Jio, is set to launch 5G in metro cities by Diwali this year and rest of the country by 2023 end. Other operator, Vodafone Idea, has not announced a time limit. What is special about 5G? It's its speed and short time. So at its peak, which means when it is coming at a good network speed, internet speed on 5G could touch 10 GB per second. It is 100 MB per second on 4G. You see the highest, the peak of 4G is 100 MB per second. What about 5G? It will touch 10 GB per second. And latency has reduced. What is latency? It is made from the word late. Latency, you can say, is a time period that a network take in order to transmit information from one point to another. So for example, you send a message to someone. The time taken between the message transfer is called latency, and this is expected to be reduced, which means it will be under 1 millisecond. And what about 4G? In 4G it is 10 to 100 millisecond, which means more faster internet and more internet speed. So this is the future. What can we expect in the future? We can expect more economic growth, more employment, more jobs because of this 5G services. And how can this be possible? Because you see, whenever there is a technological advancement, there is an economic development as well. You may have seen a lot of jobs that this internet has created, and if fast internet comes in service, it will boost the existing one and create new one. Now coming to next news, which is calling for return to talks. India abstains on UNSC vote to condemn Russia. So what was the vote about? And what did India said? So India has already taken one statement that dialogue and diplomacy is the solution, and other statements are given here, underlining that escalation of rhetoric or tensions is in no one's interest. So it means fighting and tensions can benefit no one, neither Russia nor Ukraine nor West. And it is important that pathways are found for a return to negotiating table, which means new ways must be found in order to return to negotiation. So India Saturday abstained on a UN Security Council resolution that would have condemned Moscow's illegal referenda and declared its annexation of 4 Ukrainian territories as invalid. So what was, in simple word, this resolution was to condemn Russia's annexation, or you can call invasion, of 4 Ukrainian territories. So everyone was on the table in order to condemn it and in order to call it illegal. But India abstained from the vote. Now it is continued on page number 9. So we will see if there is more news in between. So today is Gandhi Jayanti, so a lot of people have paid tribute. Also today is Shastriji's birth anniversary, so nation paid tributes to both of them. Next comes city page, then more of city page. Then comes government and politics page. Here most of the news today is about politics. You can see about leaders. Then comes the page number 9. So it was supported by 10 of the 15 members. So you see UN Security Council and Russia vetoes it. So this resolution was supported by 10 of the 15 member council, and other countries abstained. Who were the countries? China, Gabon, India, Brazil. So addressing the council after the vote, India's permanent representative to the UN, who is Ruchira Kamboj, what she said? She said that India is deeply disturbed by the recent turn of development in Ukraine. And we have always advocated that no solution can ever be arrived at the cost of human lives, which means India is worried Then comes Sunday Express magazine. Again, more of this magazine. Coming to economy page, we have read about 5G. So what is new here? BSNL 5G, which is a state-owned telecom operator, will roll their 5G by next August. And what is new here is that it will be based on non-standalone architecture. So what is non-standalone architecture? In non-standalone architecture, operators can maximize the utilization of their existing network infrastructure with relatively lowest investment. So in simple words, you can just think that existing network infrastructure. What is existing network infrastructure? The one that BSNL is currently working on, which is 3G, 4G. So non-standalone architecture is how can these operators, how can BSNL maximize the utility or utilization of their existing network infrastructure? How can they utilize what they already have with relatively lower investment? It means it can roll out 5G, but it is also taking care of their existing network infrastructure. So this is a non-stand architecture. Low investment and more utility. Now next come the word page. This is about UN and its remark on Nord Stream rupture. What UN say is that Nord Stream rupture may mark biggest single methane release ever. So methane is a gas that damages the climate, that damages the environment, and this is the biggest single methane release ever. So the ruptures on Nord Stream natural gas pipeline system. So why is this news? First, I've explained that there was a rupture in 2 of the pipelines in the Baltic Sea, and that is why we have seen an image. It came, I think, on Thursday or Friday, that there was plumes of gases in the sea. So ruptures on the Nord Stream natural gas pipeline system under the Baltic Sea have led to what is likely the biggest single release of climate damaging methane ever recorded. So this is by the UNEP, which is United Nations Environment Program. What is the leak rate? So estimated leak rate is 22,920 kg per hour. You can think of it, very damaging to the climate. What is the current situation? It has been informed by the company that the pressures have been stabilized in the pipeline, and this indicates that the leaking has been ceased, which means pressure has been stabilized and there is no leaking now. So next come the news from Putin's side. Putin slam West and US for double standard, cites plundering of India and Africa. So what is this news about? Now here Putin is digging the history. It's talking about West and US for taking double standard. In fact, it is mocking West for what it has done in the past. So what exactly is the news about? It is about Putin not following rule-based order. They're in fact claiming, or you can call asking, the legitimacy of the rule-based order. You can see this from the statement from the Putin side. In his address, Putin said, all we hear is the West is insisting on a rule-based order. So West is already insisting. A lot of time it has called Russia for not following rule-based order. So what he said, where did that come from anyway? Who has ever seen these rules? Who agreed? Who approved them? He called that this rule-based order is just a lot of nonsense, utter deceit, double standards. In fact, he mocked, and you see he said that this is even triple standards. Talking about Russia, what Putin is trying to do is to make everyone understand that what he's doing is just what the West does. So you see, West has invaded countries in the past. For example, West America invaded Iraq. It sent its troop in Afghanistan. So what Russia is trying to say is that when America do not follow rule-based order, why can we and why should we? So Russia is a great 1,000-year-old power, and it's not going to live by such makeshift false rule, calling rule-based order a false rule. What is said that it is worth reminding the West that it began its colonial policy back in the Middle Ages. So he is trying to remind the West that the West is the one that started colonizing other nations. It is the West that followed slave trade. It is the West that did genocide of Indian tribes in America and also the plunder of India and Africa. This is contrary to human nature. This is contrary to truth, freedom and justice. So he is trying to make what? He is trying to make sense of his own invasion of Ukraine, saying that West has done it too in the past. So what is wrong when we are doing it? It is unclear what their decisions are based on and who gave them the right to decide in the first place. So West has put sanctions and is already calling for rule-based order. So now Putin is asking the legitimacy of the West. That how can they decide and who are they to decide? They just assumed it. So it is very clear what is the future. The war, end of the war seems very blurry. Russia is trying to give legitimacy to its own action. It is trying to give that whatever it is doing in Ukraine is considerable, is legitimate in its own sense, and the world must also see it as a legitimate process. So how can this be true? Russia must understand that what West has done in the past is wrong. But you must not copy that. You must not do wrong for the wrong. So only future is there seems no end to the war in Ukraine. So this comes end to the newspaper. Now you can read this newspaper by yourself as well.